It is Sunday, April the 6th. Welcome to Two Guys, One Cup, an AFL adjacent podcast. My name is Wil Anderson.
And my name is Charlie Clausen. And I want to talk about respect, Will.
RESPECT. Find out what it means to me or you.
No, James Respect. He's a new winger. He plays for Fremantle. He's excellent.
Yeah, he's played 95 games. We've never heard of him. We give him no respect, so ironically. He's sponsored by Rodney Dangerfield.
No, I was just having a little discussion watching the Port game with my Saints chat today. And we were sort of joking about, like, whenever St Kilda wins, the story is normally how did the other team lose? And sure enough, in the 7 things we learned on AFL.com after the final siren, the headline was, "You can't hold Jason Horne-Francis down." It's like, what are you talking about? He played in the losing team. But then I was thinking about it, about respect. And, you know, Saints supporters always feel like the redheaded stepchild. It's like no one takes us seriously. We don't get any respect. But we also understand why that is, right? Like, we've done hardly anything in 150 plus years.
Yeah.
But what do you think it would take? Because I feel like the Dogs are in a similar boat, won a flag, probably got about 12 months of respect.
Yeah.
And now you're sort of back to...
I mean, barely. I don't think we barely got, because everyone thought we kind of fluked it. No one's really ever respected it. They thought it was a good story, but it didn't come with a great deal of respect.
No, I do seem to remember, like, in preseason for 2017.
For preseason. Yeah, we got some preseason.
You got 6 months of respect. But then you think about a team like the Giants, right? And I feel like people have a lot of respect.
So much respect. And they haven't even won a premiership.
They haven't won a fucking premiership.
So much respect.
But is that just... So what is it? Like, tell me what you think is going on there. Like, why is it that a team that hasn't won a flag has as much respect as either of our two teams?
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting, isn't it? Because what is it? I think it is the same respect that people have for GWS is when AI starts to be things that make them laugh or that they can draw some funny thing themselves at home. And then they're suddenly like, oh, this is good now. This is fun now. You know what? I know this is some sort of relentless killing machine that will eventually devour us all, but at the moment it's in this really fun stage where it amuses me and therefore I can get on board. And I recognize that emotion as being true because I feel it about the Gold Coast Suns.
Oh yeah, right. This isn't fun anymore. Like, it was fun for a while and you're good on them, plucky Gold Coast Suns, but then you just see like they're just like got guns all over the field and could just have a dynasty anytime they want.
I mean, I don't think they will. I don't think anyone will. I mean, I know this is a ridiculous thing to say, like only like not that many years on from Richmond winning 3, right? So it's ridiculous to say that, but it just feels to me that it's going to bobble all over the place for ages. And I hope that it does. And if Hawthorn comes through, then we might need a Gold Coast and a GWS to, like, it might be our villain era, you know, where it's all these like the new superpowers going up against each other. And like Hawthorn represents Victoria because that's the new kind of Victoria, you know, attitude. What success means is actually the Hawthorn Football Club. And then suddenly you're going up against these like super teams in GWS and the Gold Coast.
But don't you think Hawthorn don't need it? So, like, we're talking about respect, right? Like, I mean, it does make sense. Like, Hawthorn is if we're the X-Men, Hawthorn is Wolverine. You can always depend on Wolverine to kind of save the day at the end, right? They're just a dependable...
I'm starting to get to the point where, particularly with this, like, you know, Sam Mitchell recruiting players sort of stuff that's going on, that it's that thing of who do you want to bat for your life? Like, what team do you want to play for your life?
The fate of the planet.
Day, right? Aliens
land, and they're big AFL fans have been studying us for the last 150 years. They're pretty good on planet Zircock. I don't know why it's called Zircock. Don't ask questions. Like, they could destroy us. They've got annihilation race, so let's not piss them off. But they want to play a game of football, Space Jam style. We can nominate one team. Not a team of superstars, one team.
Yeah, and a team that we just know will do everything possible in any scenario to get the job done.
Yeah, they'll beat those Zircockians, no problem.
Sam Mitchell will recruit two of the Zircockians. Captain Zircock will actually be playing for Hawthorn in the game.
You think about North Melbourne, right? Like they've had 2 eras, mostly kind of underachieving small club. Then in the 70s, is it Barassi comes on board, they win 2 flags. Then the Carey era in the 90s. So they've got 4 flags in total.
Yeah.
How much respect did they? I reckon the Roos got from the Carey era, probably got 10 years of respect, a decade of respect out of that.
I mean, they would have got so much more if there wasn't all the other stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think in the end, that
No, but
stuff,
as a football club, Shinbone of spirit and all that, like I reckon that sustained them for a while, even despite the controversy.
But then they had that patch where things really fell apart, right?
Well, that's what I mean. Like they've had almost
Yeah.
counters. Like it was like some kind of Faustian bargain where it's like you'll have the best centre half forward and a period of dominance. You'll own Friday night.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be real bad. I'd take it. Fuck, man, I'd take it. If like the devil appeared now and said that, I'd be like, you'll see 2 flags in the space of like, a 10-year period. I'll be actually fine. I don't care what happens in 20 years. Like St Kilda falls into, I'll be dead. And I will have finally achieved the one thing I want more than anything I've achieved as a spectator.
I don't feel like bad about making this joke because it is Wayne Carey himself who makes this joke every Mother's Day about it's his busiest day of the year, right? Because he has children with several people. There is a world in which that is one of the more effective father-son regeneration programs in the AFL. Like there could be a universe where Ducks kids played against each other. Like,
Against the Zircocks. Maybe that's what Duck's been working on this whole time. You guys think I was just playing around and being a real cad, but I was preparing for this moment. I knew that the Zircockians were coming down to play us in a Space Jam-esque football game.
So I had to be the biggest Zircock in the AFL.
Yes, Mr. Carey, just hand over that bag of white powder. We've heard it all before.
Those anti-inflammatories. Thank you.
Speaking of father-sons, I don't know if you've seen any of the Bulldogs game, but Sam Darcy kicked 5 today.
Really? Is that true?
Yes, he kicked 5
he's
goals and looked
so
like
good.
He's so good. And like I've been a bit slow on the uptake because I haven't really concentrated, but in the last quarter, even though the Doggies didn't get across the line, it was very much about get the ball to Sam Darcy. And I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. Like this kid is real, real good. But it's unfair. In support of my club's president, Andrew Bassett, going on the offensive at the end of last year and saying it's not fair about father-sons and all this kind of shit, I was thinking there needs to be some kind of counterbalance. So, right, you get this amazing father-son, but then we get to sterilize one of your present-day players.
Oh, interesting.
You can nominate, but it has to be from your best 22.
What if you can buy the sperm of the other team's best player?
How much for a couple of Narcissus sperm?
like they do with racehorses, you're saying right now.
But they don't buy the sperm. They literally breed them. So what you'd have to say is
No. I don't think that's like, I don't think that we can have like a breeding program with actual people. I think this has to be an artificial insemination.
grown in a lab. I mean, isn't that how GWS got their list? I feel like that's how they assembled their team. Just all lab-grown super athletes.
Yeah. Well, let's just grow a lab full of athletes and make them like, I love the idea that you could get like not a full Dacos, right?
Yep.
But you could get like a quarter Dacos or whatever, right?
Oh, right.
Like
okay. A blend. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't want a single malt father son. I want a blend. Bit of Dacos, bit of Das.
It's a Dacos and a Denny Dick Voss.
It doesn't work like that. Oh, you're saying splice the sperm so they have elements of every father.
Yeah, that's
Right.
Well, I was more padding it out with just other players who just donated their sperm, you know what I mean?
Watching the Giants today, they thrashed the Eagles, of course, as they would. I think
Yes, of course.
Jesse Hogan kicked 9 goals.
Oh.
But looking at that little Darcy Jones fella, the little helmeted kid.
Yeah.
Who do you think is the best helmeted player of all time? I've got some to refresh your memory. I put it into Google.
This is great.
This is kind of our areas, right?
Thank you. I'm so excited about this. I've had a big day. This is a perfect little game to play, to wind down.
The issue with helmeted players is there's not
Yeah.
a lot who wore it their whole career.
Yeah.
So I think we can sort of say like whole career is, we put Caleb Daniel and Darcy Jones in that category, right? Darcy
Yeah.
Jones is very young, so it's hard to say he's the best ever. Caleb Daniel, though, I think
Committed, and he's had a great career.
Silvio Ficini had I think he was from Carlton to the Saints, had the red, white, and black helmet. It was okay as a rover, not like the greatest. Now we sort of have to extend into players that either had to switch to a helmet at some point or
of course,
wore it for extended periods.
No, I understand that.
Okay. Jason Dunstall,
Of course,
remember?
the most famous of all, I think, temporary helmet wearers.
Brett Kirk,
Oh yeah, okay.
Sean Hart,
Oh
the Brisbane Lion.
yeah, I remember. That's right.
Jude Bolton wore one for a while. I don't remember that.
I don't.
Aaron Sanderlands. I do remember towards the end of his career him wearing a helmet. It looks so funny because he's so gigantic.
Yeah, it was actually just in case he bumped into like steel girders and stuff in the stadiums.
He looked like a pool cue. He had this little just kind of dark top. He just wanted to just like grind some chalk on the top of his head.
He said it's actually just comfy. I just like how it feels.
Angus Brayshaw before retirement,
Of
obviously.
course,
He probably
yes.
would be. And then Nathan Burke of the Saints.
Oh, of
who,
course, yes.
after
I
getting
think so.
elbowed in the head. So I've made Nathan Burke 329 games.
Yeah,
Made a
I
bunch
think
of
I think iconically to me, when I think of Nathan Burke, you do think of him in that helmet. So yes,
helmet. Yeah, thank you to Gary Ablett elbowed him right in the temple. I was at that game. I remember thinking that Gary Ablett seems like not a great guy.
Seems like his elbows are real sharp or determined.
Carlton lost on Thursday. It feels like a million years ago. And
Carlton, the Carlton Football Club.
yes, and I know I've been making a bit of a feature that we play stuff from Blue Abroad, but
Yeah,
I think it's not fun anymore.
it's not fun anymore. I don't like it.
No. What don't you like about it? Talk me
People
through
are-
it.
I
Because
don't
I'm
know,
trying. I'm
like-
wrestling with my own feelings at the moment, and the thing is, Will,
Yeah,
this season, the most unexpected of twists. After how many years have we've been doing this show? 9 years.
This is our 10th season of doing the show.
Are you
Both
sure?
of- Both,
Is
of
this our
those are, both of those are kind of true. It
Okay.
has been 9 and a
9
bit
years,
years,
and we're
but
doing our
we're in
10th.
our 10th season.
And I've just had this whole narrative
Uh-huh.
around Carlton, and as we know, over the last 3 or 4 weeks, that they've been humanised for me, and it just sort of
Yeah.
got me thinking:
I agree.
is this the same with every supporter group? If I just sort of got to
Mm-hmm.
know more supporters and their stories, and that maybe the behind the scenes about clubs that I don't know, that I think maybe everyone but Hawthorn, I could probably am I going to get on with an
Well, we
Essendon
know
supporter?
too
'Cause
many. We know too many people who are already barrack for Hawthorn who are representatives of what we think Hawthorn supporters are.
Yeah. Do you think you could find a Hawthorn supporter that would make you go, oh, you know what? Yeah, great. That's awesome. You guys deserve it.
Mate, some of my best friends in the entire world are Hawthorn supporters, and I hate them to my soul.
I feel the same way. And I never used to be like that.
No, but they're too successful.
Yeah.
They're too good.
When your idols become your rivals. Have you seen that terrible Harley Reid ad he does
Oh,
with the
is this
supplement, the press conference one?
Oh, it's a bad time to launch that too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
I think they must have made it before.
they did. They made
Yeah.
it before the season, but it's just a bad time for that to be the launch of that.
And I also don't think he quite has this. He has the swagger on the field. But he
Yes.
doesn't have that swagger with a microphone in front of his face. It's one of the worst line
No.
readings.
It's
I'd
like
just like to apologise when you make your idols your rivals, and don't argue that you don't like or whatever the fuck it is.
honestly, if they put out 9 different versions that he said different shit in each one, I would never spot it. It is, I mean, he's a kid and he's not an actor. And basically, what this is? This is the most generous reading.
Yeah.
It's a great alibi for some situation later on when he needs to convince someone like the tribunal or something like that he's telling the truth. He can use this as evidence of the fact that he cannot act.
Yes,
And
right.
I think that will be it'll be
That's
a good
the only. That's when it finally pays off.
Yeah.
That fucking ad.
It's a long con, I think, is what he's doing.
What do you think? So Carlton, clearly their season's in the toilet. And
Well, or it's going to be one of the greatest comebacks in the history of football.
well, at the
right?
moment, it's in the toilet. Currently in the toilet. Yes, it's a long
Yeah,
season.
circling the toilet. It's a long season.
And then you got the D's who are in a similar boat. Who are you more bullish about getting out of this mess? Like if you just had to pick one.
I don't know about bullish because I think that more and more the way that I think about it is what would be the most fun storyline. And I think both of those clubs have really compelling storylines for both success and failure, right? Now,
Yeah.
the failure ones are the ones you hear about in the media the most, which is sackings of the coach or whatever else it might be, splitting ups of the lists and, it's all over and etc. or whatever.
Yeah. Sell off
But
your midfield.
but what if Carlton? We know that Carlton can do it at their peak. What if they make a run from here and make finals? And that's a fun storyline to follow during the season. And it's better than
didn't they
Vossi
do
getting
that? Was it last year or the year before they did that?
the year
They
before,
started
and then they kind of
terribly.
last year weren't as convincing.
Potent. Right.
But
yeah.
but they've still got a team that could do that, and also Melbourne do. I'm probably less confident about Melbourne, other than the fact that it just doesn't seem like whatever repairing that they needed to do.
The love.
You need to see some immediate success, I think, from that. Because you know what it's like. You've worked on things where you need some success markers early on
Yeah.
about the fact that you've reinvested in something that you might have had some doubts about whether you should keep going on it. And you're like, you need, in that circumstance, you don't want your doubt. You don't want to be suddenly like 4 weeks in going, oh, I've made a terrible mistake.
Well, Melbourne's a perfect example of that respect thing, right? Do you think that I feel like they got less respect than even the Bulldogs with their drought-breaking
No one
flag.
got to go. I feel bad for them
Oh,
now.
God, that's fucked. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think of that. It's even worse.
I blame Broden a bit, but I think it's actually that, like, because I've humanized Melbourne supporters and I don't actually love it, but like Russell Howcroft can get me to do it, but like Broden kind of has. But also, again, because it has fallen apart so badly, it's now not fun that it's fallen apart for me. And I actually did think those players were all great, and I got to know Max and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want this to be Melbourne's story. I would like Melbourne to have a big comeback from here and be us to be able to celebrate. Clayton Oliver is a once in a generation player, and Christian Petrarca is a once in a generation player, and Max Gawn as the champion of the game that he like. I don't want this horrible time for Melbourne, but it feels more permanent to me.
It's funny too, isn't it? Because it's all relative to what your expectations of the club are. Because a lot of the talk around Voss, especially from I did actually watch Terry's show, the fan cams, but I didn't find anything worth clipping because it was so sad and dour and wasn't. You know what it was? It was actually they were quite at peace with where they are. They sort of didn't expect to win.
Yeah.
Wasn't as bad as I thought, but it was still, there was nothing inspiring about it. So it was just kind of all that optimism that you come into the season with is gone. But their expectations are clearly like they've played finals the last 2 years in a row with Michael Voss, and they've had a bad start to the year. And for a lot of their supporters, there's just alarm bells ringing, or that's evidence because they've won 3 of the last 10 games, whatever, that he's got to go. Where I don't know. I just sort of feel like there's other clubs like Port Adelaide, have rode with Ken Hinkley all the way. He's been a very successful coach, but there is something to be said about Voss has been there for 4 years, right? And he's played finals half that time or even 3/4 of that time. Like, yeah, shit isn't happening now, but maybe just give him time to, repair on the run. I don't know.
Also, maybe you're a team that has like some top end superstars, some of whom haven't been playing, and then maybe your bottom end isn't as strong as your top end is, and people like you rely a lot on your superstars that haven't all been playing or haven't all been playing well.
Yeah, so I guess the question is, well, it's the expectation of the supporters and what they're used to. Like we thought we were loading up for a premiership tilt. So realizing that you're not up to scratch. Like, I don't know. I sort of feel like there's so many experts, like fans are such experts. I listen to people and get very convinced by their assessment of their club or other clubs. And I'm like, but I've got to assume that your club or any club would go into a season with, whatever expectations and then sometimes would happen, you just get a real reality check and go, oh, fuck, we're actually miles off it. And that's not panic stations. That's just something that, because tactics are changing. A team might have a player turn into a superstar. You might have a player drop off or whatever like that.
Well, you know what you've done, but you don't necessarily know what everybody else has been up to either.
Yes, exactly.
And then you all find out and you have a look at what everybody else is doing and whether your thing still works and whether you have the people to do the thing that you want to do. And
I just reckon
also,
this
if you're Bevo and you're the Bulldogs, I didn't see the game today, but like you talk about Sam Darcy, you get dealt a hand where Jamara isn't playing for whatever reason. Like, probably it just gives Sam Darcy more of an opportunity to do what Sam Darcy is doing at the moment. And that can be a valuable thing to do. It doesn't need to be panic stations for, I think we are in the era of the hot take in the AFL.
Yeah.
And it is relentless.
Relentless.
And it is exhausting. And it is draining the joy from, we are concentrated. I watched that Gold Coast and Adelaide game, and it was.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but I don't want to be talking about that because that game was just so good. And it was probably a mistake, but it was close enough that I've heard a bunch of experts say, no, I can see why it wasn't paid. And you're like, well, if there's some people who are experts who look at it in real time and go, maybe I can see, then that's enough deniability. Maybe they should, like the AFL have said that should have been, but there's shit that goes down all the time in games of football.
Yes.
Like the Bulldogs had a rough run the other week. Like it's not.
But it is fun to think that Adelaide are maybe cursed, don't you think? Since the collective minds,
this is what
pre-season.
That was kind of all going to be my caveat to the fact that I fucking love this for Adelaide. I love that this is part of Adelaide's character.
Narrative, yeah.
Because they've been so good this year. So Adelaide lose no fans from this. It just kind of humanizes them a little and it puts a little extra characteristic into the mix that maybe they are cursed. So if they were to make a run towards the final, it puts the curse on the line as well. I love that for Adelaide.
When I was watching that same game and enjoying it as much as you, but I felt that maybe St Kilda are cursed watching Noah Anderson, whose dad, Dean Anderson, played 78 odd games with us. Yeah. And Jeffrey, whose dad, Russell Jeffrey, played 50 something games for the Saints. It's just a few, 20, another couple dozen more, and we've got a father-son there.
Yeah, no, they both actually had a weekend on the Gold Coast, so they were going to nominate for the Gold Coast anyway. It was fine.
Yeah, I'm keen to get up and see some more games. What's it called now? It's not Heritage Bank. It's what is it? They change it every year. Is it People First?
Might be People First. It was People First. So
what do you mean it was People First?
Well, wasn't it early? I mean, maybe I'm only thinking earlier this season, but I remember it being People First.
Yeah, I think
that was their first game there, wasn't it? Did they play preseason there? Maybe.
The Gold Coast, aren't they playing just at their normal joint?
People First, yes, but I'm saying they have. I'm saying they played away.
Oh, right,
the two games of the. Oh, because of course they got washed away.
Yes.
So that's what's confusing me.
Yeah, I mean, this fucking ladder is so hard to get a read on. You look at it and you go, "Oh, hang on, this team's played 2 games. This team's played 4." It's
great. I reckon let's all agree not to look at it until the end.
No, how am I going to do my hot takes, Will?
No, let's just play. That should be the rule. It should be like primary school. Oh, let's not score. Let's for the rest of the season.
Just play.
Just play. And they count the scores. So people can keep score, but they cut away at the important moment.
We're talking a lot this year about how much footy media there is. And you're right. It's absolutely everywhere. And I think therefore, because there is so much of it, we can probably drop. My least favorite is the AI compilation articles where they just clip together, the transcript from the commentary of the game and they post it as an article. You know how Fox Footy do that? It's the worst. So can we drop those? Because we don't need them. You're not adding anything to the game. You're literally just clipping stuff from the commentary. But then Fox do this thing and it's the 3-word review or the 3 words for your team or whatever at the end of the round. And I was reading through it and it's like a school assignment. But then you get to Hawthorn and Essendon who had the bye and it's did not play. It's like, just fucking omit them from the list. Like, you're not getting marked on this. You don't need to include the 2 teams that did not play and precisely put down did not play. Like, just don't include them. Don't include them. But I'm like, are we that desperate for this much footy content? Because I'm not. I mean, it's full on me because I read it.
It'd be great if they used 4 words for those ones. Like, they did not play.
Ross Lyon did the agenda setters last Monday.
Yeah. What agenda did he set?
Well, it was great because he finally put Kane Corns into his place.
Oh, yeah. Great.
So I kind of a bit annoyed about this. Like, Kane loves the low-hanging fruit, but also the White Lotus, storyline I was hoping could develop into, because the journalists are having fun with it now and they're asking, what do you think of the season finale and blah, blah, blah. But then, like, Kane has to turn it into a journalistic question. But then I quite like, this is Ross's response. Oh, hang on, sorry.
Ross, I said that you may have lost your hard edge. And I loved the hard edge, and I gave a couple of examples about the 3.5 days off that you've given your players. You spoke about delegating to others to appoint an assistant coach. The White Lotus stuff, which was a bit of fun, I get it, but you weren't watching the footy.
I just didn't want to talk about Richmond.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll take that on board. But
you understand
are you...
I mean...
Like, it's a shame Ross had to pull the mask aside to just to explain it, but it's like, fucking hell, I understand the temptation to just say, shut up, Kane.
I love that Ross just went, confirmed what we all knew to be true, because it is actually, I like a proof point every now and again that he is playing everybody like a fiddle, and the fact that he was just like, what are you talking about? I would love to be Ross Lyon, as in to go through the world,
think up the distractions or the
what a fun
red
way.
herrings, and
if your football club needs a distractions guy, if Ross, I'd be willing to do it for the Saints. If the Bulldogs don't want me,
here's some talking points.
This doesn't feel like Bevo's vibe, but distraction talking points that Ross could just throw into the mix.
Let's just have a random improv session where I'm the journalist, and so this is you auditioning for Ross.
Okay,
and so I'll be a journalist who, and you feed the chooks to show Ross how it's done.
Yeah.
So Ross, on Thursday night, 2 men were arrested possessing firearms. What did you make of all that?
Oh, well, I'll tell you that. There's a show on television at the moment that has a couple of guns in it. It's called The Sopranos. Have you ever seen that? It's about
it's pretty old, Ross.
Yeah, I'm pretty old as well, so I don't get around to everything. Sometimes if you don't learn from history, you're bound to repeat the mistakes of the past.
That's actually pretty good. And the fact that you slipped a philosophical cliche in the end, I think you got the job. I think that's pretty good. Now, we put the call out to our listeners, and I've just been letting them build up because this has possibly been one of our most popular.
Oh, is this hot players? Who's got the hottest team?
I have a folder on my computer at the moment, which is just labeled AFL Hotties.
Yeah, great. This is the best. I was hoping this would catch on, and then just anecdotally, as I've been running into people and they've just been in real life nominating who their hot team's hottest players are, I've already, I think I kind of knew this was coming.
It's pretty amazing how much people love this. So this came in from April, who's pretty much started this segment, and she's going to cover the entire league. So she's going to give us a rundown from
So
her
do you
hot picks
think
from every
that
club.
April? So is April our starter positions that need to be then when we hear from other people, we can sort of
confirm or
compare
deny.
it whether I mean I like having or have a lot of people come in with their full lists.
No, there's only a couple who've done full lists, but everyone's different. So some people will name their players and then we'll randomly name some other clubs. But this is a good overview, I think, because there's some
Good
clubs
one
that
to
are
start with.
scratching my head. Okay, so we started with Adelaide.
Great.
Ben Keys and Max McElhaney.
Yeah.
So Ben Keys, I think you brought up with his slick haircut. At Brisbane, Will Ashcroft, Josh Dunkley. She wrote John Dunkley, which is
Yeah.
great. If you, I mean, he was never. That's why. Isn't that why he left the Bulldogs? Because no one knew who he was.
No, he wanted to be more anonymous. He
Oh,
wanted
he
to be in
wanted to be
Queensland.
wrapped.
No, he actually just wanted to be anywhere but the Bulldogs, it turns out.
But she clarifies Josh Dunkley when his hair gets a bit longer,
Oh, yeah.
which will happen up in Brisbane. Something
Josh
happens to
Dunkley.
players when they go to Queensland. Carlton. No, this is an interesting choice because of all.
Interesting.
I think Carlton have quite a few hotties.
Harry Mackay.
No, Tom de Koning.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Really? He's so
Yeah.
big and like he looks like a Jim Henson creature.
No, I don't think so.
This is in the Jim Henson Creature Workshop.
No.
He does. He's operated by puppeteers with long sticks. That's how his limbs move.
No, I feel like he moves like a graceful dragon.
Like Nabokov. No, he's an author. The ballet dancer.
I don't. No. It's like, yes, like Nabokov.
Who wrote Lolita, I believe.
That underage
And I only
dragon.
know that because of that song by the Police.
Oh, hang on. I would prefer you don't say Lolita and Police so close together in our podcast.
Okay. Collingwood. Now, this is, I would say, along with LDU, probably a favourite. Pat Lipinski's had a lot of votes. She also puts in Nick Dacos in a boy band kind of way. It's the waxed eyebrows I can't get on board with Nick Dacos, but I get it. Essendon, Matt Guelphy, who's been brought up a few times, Archie
Yes.
Beckins, Sam Durham, Harry Jones, and I could name another 3 or 4. I think Essendon have the prettiest AFL team by a fair margin.
I can confirm that I have met Matt Welfie in real life and he was an extraordinarily good looking man.
A hottie?
Yeah.
An official AFL hottie. I mean, if we did like stings, this is where you hear AFL hottie. You know, like,
Oh,
and
God,
it's-
that's an awful sting, though. Like, why is it so aggressive?
100% AFL hottie approved. It's like a branding sound. Can someone do that for us, Mike, when you're cutting this? AFL hottie, 100% approved. All right, at Fremantle, Jeremy Sharp and Andy Brayshaw. I get the
Oh.
Brayshaw.
Yeah.
Geelong, of course, only one name there.
Bailey Smith.
Bailey Smith, Gold Coast, Will Graham, GWS, Sam Taylor, Hawthorn, Will Day, Melbourne, Trent Rivers. Okay. She rarely watches North play, but I think Jackson Archer is as cute as a button. It's not AFL cuties, April. It's AFL hotties, 100%. AFL, what am I? I forgot what our sting is already. Thank you. Connor Rosie at Port, Sam Laylor at Richmond. A few people have brought up Sam Laylor,
You know what? He's
which is
actually
weird because
also
isn't he like
pretty good at.
16 or something? Sam Laylor,
Yeah,
he's
but
very
he's
young.
also really great at playing football.
Yes,
He's
yeah.
he was Richmond's best player.
Best player,
again.
I know. But does that say more about him or Richmond?
I thought Richmond were pretty good. I watched some of that game. They were all right.
For a quarter. I mean, I'm not going to pick on Richmond.
No, you
You're
shouldn't.
not going to bait me into picking.
I'm not going to.
Mason Wood at St Kilda. Yeah, I get that. Isaac Heaney at the Swans. West Coast. Callum Jamieson. Never heard of him.
No.
Footer Scray. James
Yeah.
O'Donnell.
Oh, yeah.
Sauce's
Yeah.
son or nephew?
Yeah, son.
Son, yeah. Well, Sauce was a good...
Yeah.
Sod was a good-looking
Sod.
man in his day.
Yeah,
okay.
no, he's a good-looking cat. I can say that.
Now we're going to go into sort of team specialised. This is from Matilde.
great.
3 hottest players from the Swans. Thank you for finally asking the important questions. Who are the
Okay,
hottest
good.
players in your
Yes.
team? As a lifelong Swan supporter and a heterosexual woman, I feel like I've been training for this moment my entire life. So I've done some thinking. Here's my 3, 2, 1. At number 3, Isaac Heaney.
Yep.
At number 2, Joel Amati.
Yep.
I'm coming up, so you better get Amati started.
I mean, I didn't initially think of Joel Amati, but Adam Spencer nominated Joel Amati as well. And then I had a look and I was like, yeah, I can say that.
I could see him starring in some American like team, like the OC
absolutely.
type thing.
Yeah.
Number 1, Dane Rampy, who
Oh, yeah.
and this is Matilde talking, I would argue is actually the hottest man in the world.
Oh,
I'm a
well,
29-year-old professional
Uh-huh.
who has worked hard to be taken seriously in a male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
But looking at this man makes me giggle and kick my feet like a 12-year-old in their first crush. It's humiliating.
No, I don't think she's the only one. I get the impression that there was a period of time around Bondi, if you saw a barefooted man in a local supermarket, local models would flock towards that supermarket to try and find where this man was because he has that aura of like he was just this,
is it like Byron kind? Is it that Byron kind of vibe?
Like, no shoes, surfer, like
Hey, we should get
philosophical
together
about the world.
we should have a dialogue
that sort of
sometimes.
charm.
Put your foot on my heart.
If he wasn't an
I
AFL
can feel it.
footballer, he'd probably like do ayahuasca or whatever.
that's
like,
right.
you know.
Yeah, me and my friends are going skinny dipping with some spider monkeys off the coast of Barbados in June. You should come with us. It'll be a real trip.
Yeah, exactly.
Jordan said, currently listening to your round 3 episode, I believe the Essendon player you're talking about is Matt Guelphy. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I'm an Essendon sympathetic Blues supporter and also agree that Charlie Curnow is one of our most attractive players, although my Bombers supporting husband calls him Pearl because he is lacking in definition between his head and shoulders.
Oh, interesting.
So what is that? But where does the Pearl come from? Is it because their head's little? Well, I don't understand. Like lacking definition. So he's got a skinny neck and his head bubbles around like a pearl. Is that what are you getting from that?
I don't know.
Maybe, Jordan, you can explain that one.
Yeah.
She nominates from the Blues, Jack Silvani. I feel like Jack Silvani, he's come from 2 really good looking people.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, I don't know.
Baby.
Well, it's just a bit, I don't know. I feel like it's too obvious. I like what I liked about LDU
I
is
think
like,
if we have a scheme where like you can have father-son for the players and their skill, I think for hotness is also okay. You know what I mean?
yeah, okay. Ollie Hollands, yeah, I get that. Cripper.
Yeah, I can see that.
I remember
he's like athletic and kind of handsome and athletic looking.
I guess. Our mate Disco, who has no interest in football, I remember about 10 years ago, he called me quite urgently. You okay taking your headphones out?
Sorry, I thought I heard someone knock at my door. But
have you?
I don't think so.
Okay. Is it Patrick Cripps?
I was like, am I being that loud? I don't think so. But anyway, go on.
I was going to say, we had a friend, Disco, who had no interest in football. And I remember about 10, maybe more, probably 15 years ago, getting quite an urgent phone call from him. And he was like, who is Tom Hawkins? Who's this Tom Hawkins guy? He's the most beautiful looking man I've ever seen.
Oh.
And I think I know he's retired, but
yeah,
Tom Hawkins had that real like beefcake, but blue-eyed Paul Newman kind of quality, didn't he?
His eyes are dreamy. And I do think he has that sense of like a real, like a gentle giant, like a fairy tale giant.
He was up in Byron over Christmas, and I saw him at the local pub in the beer garden, and he was surrounded by kids who wanted photos and stuff.
Yes.
And he was the nicest, most patient, had sense of humor, seemed quite down to earth.
He feels like he has that little aura that kids would like feel safe and friendly to be around him.
Yeah, it's like Andre the Giant or something.
Yeah, but he's also, as you said, he's actually very handsome. And I think that this year I've seen him a few times on the footy, and because he's not like having to play, he can actually like look a bit more like a human. And you're like, yeah, you are a striking
individual.
Yeah. Anyway, this is a different take to what other people are doing on their hot take shows. They're not talking about this on the agenda setters.
Okay, this is from Pat.
Yeah.
And she's taking, or he, Pat, they are taking a different turn. Richmond, a team of uggos.
Oh, interesting.
Hi, boys. I might be a week late on player attractiveness, but I just wanted to highlight the real ongoing problem with Richmond's premiership players leaving, and that is the level of attractiveness. Alex Rance and Shane Edwards, gone. Trent Cotchin and his old school matinee idol look, gone. Basher Hooley with a striking beard, gone. Dave Asprey with the classic farm boy handsome look, gone. Dusty's charisma, gone. Jason Castagna.
Yeah.
And Shea Bolton's cheekiness, gone. Daniel Rioli's Instagram cheekbones, gone.
Oh, yeah.
With these players leaving, there's been no one new to take this spot on the pin-up board. The Richmond exodus has been a real drain on player attractiveness and makes watching them play this year even harder.
The sexodus.
We can only hope that some of the draftees grow into their looks as they grow into their bodies, and the recruiting team looks to key weaknesses in the off-season. Good luck to you both, and go Tigers. So Sam Laylor, it sounds like, is going a long way to addressing that, not only in talent, but in hotness.
I think, is this an opportunity for someone who isn't like of Lawler's like ability, you know, but like maybe has like, you know, could change up their look a little bit and sort of lean into being their role in the group being that they are the one who has that, because Lawler's gone with that kind of tight shaved, dusty style of a look. So could we put together like, you
the
know, a
best
shaggy head, like, you know,
the best
like,
of the players they used to have? Is that what you mean?
oh, well, I didn't, but now I do.
So
like
it's kind of like,
someone's
you know,
got the
they do,
Richo.
you know, sometimes they do those real horrible articles
Yeah.
where it's like, we've constructed the ideal woman based on 1,000 people's feedback. You would have the
Yeah.
lips of Angelina Jolie and the cheekbones or whatever. So we take that list and it's like, okay, we want Rioli's cheekbones.
Yeah.
We want Trent Cotchin's matinee idol
Well, I mean,
haircut.
it's like, what have we lost from the club?
Yeah.
And what do we need
Cheekbones,
to replace?
haircut,
Yeah.
swagger.
Yeah. We're just saying to all the players, send us your headshots. We don't need to meet, but send us your headshots.
Over in the West, Steph says the Eagles have been starved of hot boys and pretty boys since the absolute beautiful Brad Shepherd retired a few years ago. What? Who? Who's Brad Shepherd? Like, I'm
He's
just gonna.
that band from Brisbane.
All right, you just tell me, Brad Shepherd, how many games, what position he played?
210, and he was a backman.
Okay, here we go. Brad Shepherd.
Yeah.
He played 216 games. Doesn't say what position
I
he played.
said 210. That's pretty
pretty
fucking
good.
great, to be honest.
I'm looking at a photo of him, and I honestly, I know I say this every year. I've never seen this man in my life. I mean, we're talking.
Was he a backman or a forward? Did we find out?
Shepherd was born in Perth. He represented AFL
What
career.
position did he play?
I'm looking. I'm just scanning. I'm assuming he's a defender. Yeah.
So what I said was almost exactly the
Shepherd
right
bounced
answer.
back in the next 2 seasons, making All Australians. He made the All Australian squad in
Oh
2019.
my God. All right.
Yeah, he's a defender. Fucking hell. So
Okay.
you pretty much. I mean. That's crazy. Are we in a simulation? Like the most generic, and if you looked at him, like he's the most generic looking.
I
like
would not be able to identify him.
it's just AI.
I just went with my feeling.
If you just said AI, give me an image of a footballer from West Coast. They've just popped up. He's blonde, tanned. He's got a mouth guard in. That's his identifying features.
I've got to look him up now.
Yeah, I've never seen this man in my life, and he played over 200 games for West Coast. I wonder if he was a premiership player. Oh, so he
my
made the
God.
All-Australian team in 2020. He was a Glendinning Allen medalist in 2019.
Oh yeah.
And he was, I know Chris Mann wearing medal, which is best clubman in 2020. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I've absolutely never seen him before.
Do you feel like this is like Mandela effect? It's like Brad Shepherd. What are you talking about? I imagine tomorrow, like, there's like a retrospective on Brad Shepherd's like career highlights and stuff. They talk about 2020 when he made the All-Australian.
Yeah,
West Coast fans, it's time. It's your turn to be outraged. Just like, what's his face at Sydney?
Well, but this is the weird.
Phil Lloyd, not Phil Lloyd. Sam
This
Lloyd.
is-
At, what's his name? At
Who-
Sydney? Lloyd.
who are you
the-
talking
the,
about?
The player whose name
Jake Lloyd.
Yes.
The guy whose name you can't remember. Is that what you're going to say?
Called him Phil Lloyd.
Phil Lloyd.
Popular Australian comedian and comedy writer Phil Lloyd. He came to mind before Jake Lloyd.
Brad Shepherd, yeah, feels like one of those guys that, I mean, he's obviously had a huge career, but I worry about West Coast. Like, I think West Coast are becoming an irrelevancy in the AFL conversation at the moment. Even that Hawthorn thing of them trying to, like, in the way that it was all handled
Oscar
this
Allen
week.
and
I
Holly.
mean, you used to be able to be guaranteed some hotties at West Coast. That was something that, like, even in their worst years, they had like some real hotties.
Yeah, that's right. I'm thinking like the Craig Turley of it all.
Oh my God, Chris Mainwaring, rest in
Yeah, yeah.
peace. Like, what about Ben Cousins? I mean, Cuz
the
at
king
his,
of the
like,
hotties.
oh, I mean, come on.
100% hottie certified. Well, Steph also includes one of our old favourites, rough, rugged Josh Kennedy.
Oh
With
yeah,
his lumberjack look, luscious bushy
Yeah,
beard, and
I
cute
get that.
sparkling eyes. Shep was the only pretty boy that West Coast has ever had. No, that's not true. But we have Jack Graham, who's completely pretty and can fill the void. Phew, great times ahead. So yeah, is that what we're saying now? Is your rebuild you shouldn't be going to the draft. You should be going to like modeling schools, teaching models how to play football.
I mean, wouldn't that be great? Take the Zoolander approach.
Speaking of the Swans earlier, this is from Sally.
They're playing well again.
So
they
much-
look like they'll be good.
So much gratitude too from.
There you go, Adam Spencer. That's our Sydney Swans chat for this week.
Well, who did they beat again? Melbourne. No. Who did they play? I know Geelong beat Melbourne, Sydney beat North, and it was a real disappointing game.
Yeah, Sydney were great.
Yeah.
They played really well. Amadi kicked 4 as well as being hot. He was smoking both on and off the field.
Sally, talking about the Swans, so much gratitude to people for bringing this subject up. Once again, Sally's like, thank you for bringing up the subject. It's close to my heart. I've been waiting to talk about this. Like, I've just imagined there's a lot of men and women around Australia who are just sitting on the couch, just like wanting to tell someone about it. And finally, we've given them permission.
You know what I would love is if we, in this year of everybody searching for what the hottest of all hot takes is, we had found the most sizzling of all hot takes, which is who are the hottest players at your club.
Now I'm just letting you know, I'm a 53-year-old woman, but I can appreciate the talent our great game offers. Wink.
Yeah.
I'm a Swans fan, but I think we can all agree they are the best looking team. Heaney, obviously, Will Hayward, Tom McCartan. Yeah. Tom McCartan. That's
interesting.
Tom McCartan, if the Swans are in sync, he's Joey Fatone.
Yeah. He doesn't feel like immediately included on that list.
I mean, maybe like the guy you married, dependable Tom. That's what you call him. Like I can't imagine him like, he's not going to get your heart racing. He's the guy who'll pick you up on time, you know, shake your dad's hand, take you out on a nice, boring dinner and have sex in the missionary position. That's my take on Tom McCartan. If you have sex at all, that is. She also includes Mills, Florent, and McInerney. That's half the side.
Yeah.
She'd say it's just the next hottest team is Carlton, followed by GWS. It's interesting because we're just focusing on players, but we might have to compile like 2 lists: the hottest list and the hottest player.
Do you think that uniform has any influence in the decision of it? Because I think that the Carlton uniform and the Sydney uniform are very flattering to hotness.
Oh, I've never thought of it. Explain why they're flattering to hotness.
Well, I don't like the Carlton one. Just has that like all one color.
It's like a man in it has that kind of like military uniform kind of the insignia.
It's kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
And then the Sydney one, that white, you know, like, I mean, it's like why they have white parties or whatever it might be. It's like a look that it
draws
Sydney,
the eye.
right?
Yeah.
Like, and then you've got that red splash, but you like it. Like if you're a blonde guy like Isaac Heaney, you're looking different, even in the Carlton jumper versus being in the Sydney Swans jumper, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess so. I've never really thought about it, but you're right. Because even when GWS play that away strip, it's normally like it's like a white strip. So it does make sense. All right, one more for the hotties. And then I wanted to get to one bit of mail, which is a bit longer from an old friend of ours. Sophie wants to talk about the Pies. I initially didn't submit who I thought was the hottest player because I thought I wouldn't have to. And even though I'm a Pie supporter, I don't think this is a biased view, but easily Pat Lipinski gives off major pretty boy vibes. He is classic boy next door handsome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I just don't think he's the hottest. I think in the same way that like Cripper is fine, we're talking about like, come on, this is hotness.
Yeah, I think Lipinski. I think that he has those sort of boyish Melrose Place, Beverly Hills 90210 sort of
put him in the Amadi
good
category.
Looks, but it isn't an adult look at the moment. Like it feels like a more like he'd be on the cover of your teenage girls like books about romance sort of look rather than like a proper grown up, maybe handsome guy.
Yeah, I agree. All right. This comes in from Kevin, who is a listener to our other podcast, Tofop. He's from America. And we got him into football when we started doing 2 Guys, 1 Cup 9 or 10 years ago.
Well, he'll probably now be annoyed at this podcast for not talking about football again anymore, and we're just talking about who the hottest players are.
Well, he chose Melbourne as his team when he came on board. He's like, hey guys, it's Kevin, or as Charlie called me when I tweeted him back in the before times, Kevin, one of our American listeners, as I have just referred to. I'm sitting here, which is Saturday night for me, Sunday Arvo, watching my Demons in the first quarter look quite shit against the Kangaroos. So I thought I'd write in. That is as an undeserving a first quarter lead as I've ever seen. Okay, I don't remember what you're doing first quarter, but I'll take your word for it. You lost that game. I've been a fan of footy for a decade now, and thanks to my mate Xavier, who convinced me to barrack for Melbourne, because at the time, they're a lot like the Boston Red Sox during their dry spell in 2004. A lot has changed, kind of. I'm writing because I'm about to bring my unique perspective to Canberra in April to hear the big sound take on Wil's Doggos at Manuka Oval.
Wow.
I've toured the Adelaide Oval. Charlie will remember being on Twitter and asking why I'd fly to Australia to go to Adelaide and the MCG, but
Take
only
that, Kane Corns.
but only in the off season. So I've never been to the footy. My question for you is about being a neutral at the ground as a supporter of a non-involved club. Is it okay to barrack for a club that isn't my own? I reckon it would not. We wouldn't do that here. Yeah, but you know, you also everyone has a gun in America, so
and only two guys have a gun at our games.
Yeah, apparently. So it would also be weird. It would also be weird to wear my Melbourne coach's polo. Yeah, it feels like a smart play is just have a pint and some hot jam donuts and enjoy the game. But if you have any other ideas about the best to enjoy the match given my circumstances, I'd be keen to hear. If Will would like to deputise me as a Footscray supporter, I will entertain rocking up in all black and a Jordan cap on his behalf.
Here's what I will honestly say is I absolutely would not want to lead you astray, but my hope and my kind of feeling is, because I live near a big football oval, and often I see people going to the game in the colours of their team that is not one of the teams that is playing in the game. It's actually not an unknown thing to do in Australia if you are a neutral supporter, to wear your club scarf or hat or whatever. And it seems to be like I've never done it myself, so I don't really know like if there is any pushback on the front line to people doing it, but I see people doing it all the time, and I've always loved it and thought it was a nice thing to do. What do you think about that?
I don't have a problem with it. I've seen it plenty. It's never I've never like gone, who's that person think they are? Like I don't.
They're a dummy. They don't even know what game it is.
I just assume it's someone who loves footy and, you know, they wanted to wear their colours.
They're repping their team while they're just at a neutral game.
And a polo, like a D's polo, is so understated compared to what you could be wearing. It'll just look
like what people are wearing.
Yeah. I mean, people probably think you're an official scouting for the Demons anyway, or something like that.
Take advantage of that.
Yeah. Well, that's what he's asking, right? This is his first ever game. He's coming all the way from America. He wants to know what are some things he should do. Now, this is a bit of an...
Now, where's he going
Manuka Oval. So it's a bit of a weird example.
I mean, it's a very weird example.
But because part of me was like, but I think this could be good because you can sort of get a bit of that country footy vibe and professional footy vibe. So, like, you know... do they honk horns at Manuka? I feel like I've heard
I don't think it's a horn honker. Maybe it is. Maybe it's still honk a horn at
Is
Manuka.
there a hill? Is there a hill to sit on? Because that's always fun, to get a beer and a pie and sit on like the grass or stand on a hill.
It'll be a bit cold.
Right.
I'll give you a warning that you'll probably have to have a big old jacket over whatever it is that you're wearing. So probably no one will actually see that you're wearing your Melbourne polo, because I imagine it's going to be freezing cold.
Well, look,
Canberra, I've been to Manuka Oval to a bunch of things, and it can get pretty cool there.
Here's what I'll say, Kevin. As a kid, when I used to go to Moorabbin to watch the Saints play, back when we still had suburban grounds, what was a common thing to do is whatever end your team was kicking to, you'd go and watch from that end, and then in the quarter time break, you would trek around to the other end. So you're always at the forward line where the more exciting stuff happens. So that's something you could give a go. I would definitely try a meat pie and some hot jam donuts. Like they better have hot jam donuts. Like that will be a disgrace if they don't have any in Canberra. Have a kick after the game.
I'm going to say, like, it feels like Canberra is one of those places where they get into the spirit of things.
Yeah.
So it would surprise me, particularly considering the weather, if you could not get yourself a hot jam donut.
If they allow people onto the ground after the game, you should definitely do that.
That might happen.
Yeah.
That actually might happen. That would be cool.
That used to
Like,
be my
because you
favourite
don't
part
get-
of going to the footy. Was having a
Yes.
kick on the ground afterwards.
And that would be a thing that doesn't ordinarily happen at a whole bunch of
But
grounds now. You
just
don't
watch
get to do
out
that. But
because you'll either try and mark a ball and pop your
Yeah.
finger, or you'll get hit in the
Yeah.
side of the head.
some kid will
Some
smash you in
kid-
the side of the head.
Yeah, so
drill
just-
one into the side of the head.
Like you've just got to have your wits about you at all times when you're
but
having
it's
a
pretty
kick
fun.
afterwards.
You should do it if you give it a go.
Yeah. Start a fight is something in the
Don't start
crowd.
a
Yeah.
fight.
Yell abuse at the players over the
Don't yell
fence.
abuse at the players.
Try and kiss the boundary umpire.
Don't
We love
try
that
to
in
kiss
Australia.
Anyone? Don't. No. These are-
Carry a gun.
Do
into the
not.
ground.
Again, there'll be a longer line based on two fucking idiots who, like, I don't want to say too much about because they have guns apparently, but I hate when shit like this happens because everyone feels unsafe and now it just ruins it for everyone and there's going to be longer lines and etc.
But isn't it also part of you go like, isn't it amazing that there's all this fuss and anger and annoyance over like two guys with guns? Like there are other countries
Oh, yeah,
where it
totally.
wouldn't even make the fucking news. And we are
No.
so outraged and upset and putting things into place to ensure
Oh,
that
no,
not
it'll-
even one gun gets through. I'm like, this is good. This is
Yeah.
this is the appropriate reaction.
Well, yeah, I agree. It's just sad that we need to do it, but I think it is the right thing to actually do. You're right.
All right. Well, I think we've done our allotted time for this week. Hey, if you want to support the show and listen to ad-free episodes of the show,
Oh, yeah.
you can go to patreon.com/everyonerelax. We put up the video for this early. It'll go up tonight. And then 24 hours later, you can find it on our YouTube channel, which is Tofop TV. But if you can just chuck in $1 or $2 or whatever you can afford, you get every episode of our show on the Everyone Relax Network. You get it ad-free. Plus, we do bonus episodes. There's also heaps and heaps of like archive content to trawl through. Will, you're doing shows at the Melbourne Comedy Festival.
Yeah, so I have one, Will Legitimate, which is my last year's show. I'm doing a one-off at the Comedy Theatre Sunday at 2:00. So there are tickets available to that, but the other one's all sold out.
And if this is the only podcast you listen to from Will and I, maybe check out Tofop.
Yeah.
It comes out on a Wednesday. Will does a great podcast called Willosophy, which he comes out on a Thursday.
There's been lots of great episodes of that recently, and I've been enjoying your series that you do with Guy. The
counting
video-
down Saturday Night Live
Yeah.
films. Yeah, which
But
is
also there was a special Val Kilmer episode as well.
Oh, yes,
which,
that dropped last week. Check them all out at everyonerelax.co. But that is the show for this week. Play on, not 15.
Well,
Little footy-loving dickheads, dreaming about a Premiership Cup. We love our clubs, but they never win. 2 flags in 100 years. That shit house. If you think we'll be insightful, clever, or just well researched, we're here to say that's not the case. We'll just go out and wing it. We are 2 guys, 1 cup.